red button again, guys. The project I wanted to tell you about, I done lost it. I'm gonna have to look through my folders for it. But I do have a project away from Misty Force that I'm looking to reprise. It's from the early 2000s actually. Um, when I was in high school. Um, and some people haven't asked that I know. Some people have been asking me when I was going to finish my comedy story. Well, back then I lost interest in it due to some happenings at the time. I was going through a little depression and I wasn't able to write anything funny like I used to. But now that I'm a little bit older and I've conquered my pains, I've decided to bring back um, a story from high school. It's called um, Project Livin. Um, Project Livin. To get the more jargon term for living, so Project Livin. Um, Basically, it's the story of a fresh out of high school basketball player named Patrick Walters. He is the star forward of a fictional NBA team called the SoCal Sonics. Um, he he is involved in what I'd like to call a mock scam, a real estate scam. Um, but mainly is to reduce the pricing of living while allowing other people to move into your home, called the joint custody policy. Um, he lives in a mansion. He just moved into a mansion in Bel Air of Los Angeles, at a fictional address called 5124 Linda Flora Drive. Now, Linda Flora Drive is a real street, but I decided to make my own fictional home on there. Um, as a consequence for his inexperience in real estate, he ends up having to share a lot of his mansion with these four parties. Uh, Texan-born actor siblings, the Jones family, composed of Laurent and Aeolian. Laurent is a guy, Aeolian is a girl. We have Virgin Islanders supermodels, the Davis twins, Jeanette and Annette. We have gay Latino pornographic cousins, El Smooth and Juicy J. Their names are Elvester and Julian, but yeah. And we have Patrick's It Girl dance hall artist cousin Jade Fire. Her name is Aisha. Um, these parties bring a lot of chaos into his mansion, and they comprise a lot of the comedy lines. Patrick is more the mediator amidst them all. Um, Let me tell you a little bit about these characters. You've all met know a little bit about Patrick, so I'll start with the other families. Well, Laurent Jones is like a young, sexy male version of Medea to me. He is very a disciplinarian. He doesn't take nothing from nobody. He is very he's very excitable. Um, he can be very violent, but he has a soft side to him, especially to the ones he cares about. He is what I'd like to call he's my type of character that defines the person that we all would want to be. You know, the person inside of us that's when they see something wrong, you just get pissed at it. Well, Laurent is the personification of that I wish I could, or may you make me want to hurt you, and he's that type of character in a comical manner. Um, let's see, he he is the object of affection to Elvester, and Patrick. later on in the series, but mainly Sylvester. And second season, Julian. Um, he's because he's such a handsome man. Um, and my two Latino characters have a sort of a fetish for that. They get into that. They somehow find a way to tame him in a way. Not not like a yeah, but he's a pretty crazy character. When I first made the first version of him, I was pleased with how he developed. Um, Next is Aeolian Jones. She is an actress just like Lorena's an actor, a famous actor in the story. Um, and her moniker as of now is the next queen of the screen. She is she's a very mature young lady, very beautiful. She's extremely non-materialistic. Um, she believes in natural beauty. Sometimes she dresses up for roles and she has to look a certain way, but she's a very natural, very down-to-earth girl. Um, and she's in a way she's sort of confused, um, um, pushed into being the way she is. There's a lot of secrets about her. She's engaged to a football player named Vanessa Gibson, who is a complete jackass and constantly breaks her heart during television interviews um, before and after games. Um, and Laurent, um, about him, he has a pistol that he carries called Peacemaker, and he has his own codes. Um, the one you'll see him exercise the most is Title 2.5691 ass whip. And he'll mainly use that for her, especially when people come around here and start bothering her, and especially his friends. Um, but she's the main one he usually protects because that's his half sister. Um, which means that's his dad's daughter, not his mother. Very sweet girl, very sweet girl. Next, we have the twins, Janet and Annette Davis. They are from the Virgin Islands. Yes. They are very beautiful, and very talented models, with several other talents as well. Annette, I believe she is. Janet is an aspiring author, and she just finished publishing her award-nominated book "Confessions of a Black Model." It's an interracial love story, where a Jamaican girl falls in love with her white photographer, but in the end, he turns out to be psycho, and her Jamaican boyfriend from Jamaica comes over and tries to save her out of love. Um, well, as for Annette, she is a very talented musician, and she's usually asked to play during galas and parties just to show off. You know, maybe she'll be discovered, get her own agent and stuff like that. These two are very sweet. They're also the cousins of Juicy J, which is Elvester's cousin. So they're not related to Elvester at all, but they are related to Julian by marriage. So those two have a strong connection with Julian, and he's like their little brother. So you mainly see him with them a lot of times. Um, but Elvester has a humongous crush on Annette as well. Um, I don't know why, but let's just say Elvester is an extremely oversexed person. So yeah, that's who I'm going to talk about next. Elvester Santana, um, also known as El Smooth. He is the winner of 5 GABN awards, Gay Adult News Video News Awards, and he is the elder cousin of Julian. Um, he is a pornographic actor and a model. Um, but even though he is oversexed and super sexed, as I would say, he has a soft side in him, that goes beyond his "I gotta get what I want" type of attitude. He's very insecure. Um, as far as his will to actually achieve love and keep it, because throughout the series you'll notice that he falls deeply in love with Laurent, and it becomes so deep that he does some seriously stupid stuff, like in my second season mainly. There's going to be a situation where he realizes that there's no way he can get Laurent to fall in love with him now that Laurent is in love with Julian. So he runs away from home, gets drunk as hell, and it's just a hot mess out in the street. And everybody is trying to convince him to come back. He's a drama queen, but at the same time, he's a good guy in and out. He's actually one of the funniest characters in the story, to tell you the truth. Even though he is a pig. Julian Rios. No, it's not copying the actual porn star with that name, but it just came to my mind. I thought it sounded sexy anyway. Um, well, Juicy J is Afro-Brazilian. He looks predominantly Brazilian because of his lighter skin. Unlike Elvester, who looks more black. Um, he is a predominantly aggressive, so he's a very aggressive male, a pornographic actor who's known for his thick equipment and succulent Latin appeal. According to Latin Spice magazine, and that's several Latino sites, including the studio that he and Elvesta work for, which is Homo Thug-based Black Heat Studios. Um, I described it before. He's related to the Davis twins by marriage and is very close to him. And he's also a martial artist who is proficient in capoeira, and he uses that when it comes to his mods and pies. Um, Later on in the third season, he breaks into mainstream movies and kind of stems away from the porn scene, and he starts acting in LGBT movies. He does one with Laurent called "And I Did It for Love," and that is like right after they break up, so they already have that established chemistry, which will cause another love session between them in the third season. Um, and that'll be around the time when Sylvester and Patrick begin to have a sort of like a war to see who can get Laurent, and the others are trying to stop them before they cause something to happen. So yeah, he also has an ex-boyfriend called Passion Marks. I know it's a comical pornographic pun, but that's his name, Passion Marks. Um, and he is always involved in like this so-called love triangle where he's trying to get Julian back from Laurent, and he appears a lot through the seasons, and constantly causes trouble even when Julian and Laurent aren't together. Um, there's a history between those two, and I don't want to get into it because it's too long to talk about. Well, um, he let's see, he's also um kind of how should I put this, insecure, especially about himself. He doesn't think he's handsome or beautiful at all, even though he's extremely gorgeous. His cousins by marriage, the twins, usually are the ones tell him that he needs to embrace his inner and outer glamour. In other words, his inner and outer beauty. Um, and try to see that he is a beautiful person on the inside, and which he is. Um, Actually, Julian, next to Patrick, is the most considerate person in the house, and he's easy to talk to. Even though he's sort of a flirt, he listens to you, and he's always there for people, especially the ones in the house. Even the neighbor. He's a good guy, a very sweet guy. Next, we have Aisha Sinclair, also known as Jade Fire. She is an American dance hall musician, and she's keeping the trend alive and well in America. She is Jamaican, Caucasian, and African. She's the only triracial person in the story. Um, she is fictionally cohorted with people like Rihanna, Beyonce, or Pilar Lauren Hill, stuff like that. Women that is like in a consultation base to help her out when she needs some advice. And she's also the one who um, has the most connections as far as the celebrity world. She's the least likely to get into trouble. She doesn't. She when the trouble arises, she's not in it, and that's what I like about Aisha. She tries to keep it low key. She is, um, she is also in a relationship with a Korean, a Korean fashion designer named Mike Song, who is brother to her best friend Kim Song. They're twins. Um, and Mike is a man whore. He sleeps with his models, his female models, and never has any romantic attraction to her, Aisha, even though she loves him to death. He's an asshole, and he has no respect for women, and he doesn't like to be around when Laurent is around because Laurent got that gun ready to shoot him. Um, especially the girls. Now, the other girls want to kick his tail. They want to beat him down. Nobody likes him in their house because he treats them, especially Aisha, like crap. So, Aisha is a very interesting. She is also discovered to have a disease where she can't produce children, an egg. So in season two, she adopts a little black Asian child named Keegan for 20 chapters until his parents come back together. Um, that's my main characters. As far as my recurring characters, I have Sharonda, who is a ghetto fat girl, lives next door. This is just attitude, like, my goodness. We have Willie Mae, Patrick's mother, who is frenetic as hell and hates all the women in the house. Cleophas is security guard mall cop, who is usually seen around the area. Very funny character. Always getting in fights, always winning, even though he's old as hell. And he likes Julian, primarily because he wants to fix him up with his daughter, who is currently incarcerated for murdering four of her husbands and is in her early 50s. Not gonna happen. Then we have Big Daddy Shane. He's a played out 80s pimp. Um, it has an affinity for Aisha and Neolion, calling them his main mamas. Very crazy character. Little Willie, oh, hateful ass child that comes around and bothers the people at the Walters residence, especially Laurent. We have Kung Fu Drew, played out martial arts star Maximus Lee, his student who constantly beats him up for owing money. Buster Presley, um, a joke of a mechanic who's a one-hit wonder and is horrible at his job as a mechanic. Can take months on end to finish his work. Then we have King Kong Brown, a early 70s black exploitation movie actor, and Patrick is a fan of him. The guy sucks. His movie sucks. He sucks. His little bimbos that he has next to him sucks. Just everything about him sucks. But Patrick just loves his man, just for some reason. Then we have Cody Smart. Cody is what I like to call a lily thug, which is a white thug. A lily thug, and then he's a Oleon's stalker ex-boyfriend. Um, yes, say Oleon used to date a white guy who turned out to be a stalker. He breaks past Bel Air security, but sneaks past them, and it's always bothering the people in the house, especially Laurent and Oleon, who he's closest to. Um, I told you about Vanessa Gibson, Aeolion's fiance, who was a jackass, star football player, quarterback. Um, then we have Enrique Santiago da Silva III. He is the arch nemesis of Jeanette and Annette, and he is the top gay supermodel in all 7 continents. And he is a dangerous villain who is predominant amongst the entire series. So he's going to be one of my main villains. Mike Song, I told you about him. Kim Song, I need to tell you more about her. She is a prominent model, a Korean model. She's very beautiful, and she's also an actress in action drama scenes and movies. Um, she's sort of like my version of like maybe Zhang Ziyi, but Ziyi is Chinese. So. But yeah. Then we have True Washington. Um, True Washington is a black male author who just adores the people at the Walters residence and is very genuine around season 3. Um, right after Aisha dumps Mike for cheating on her, um, they get together and they have a little romance going. Baby Keegan Bryant, he's a biracial black baby mixed with Chinese blood. He's adopted in the second season, like I said before. There's there 20 chapters until his birth parents, Jeffrey and Ling, come to get him. His role is short-lived, y'all, but Baby Keegan is adorable character. I think I'll make it one of my most memorable characters from the second season when I do get to that. Then we got Passion Marks as Julian's obsessive ex-boyfriend who has a vendetta against Laurent. Um, I told you about him before. Yeah, but the thing is about him, he's more of a sexual deviant than a vester. So you can tell Passion is an extremely hard to handle type of person in the story and very funny. Then we have Reverend Stoney Jackson Phillips, PhD. I know. That's Mama Walter's pastor who believes Laurent is possessed by the devil. He is the bane of Laurent's existence, for he constantly Bible thumps him to loose that devil. Um, a lot of stuff happens when the church things come around with Reverend Phillips. Just, just a crazy guy who is your typical holler out loud, holy roly asshole of a preacher. And he think he always right, even though sometimes he wrong. Sometimes he try to read from the Bible, he can't pronounce the words. That's which is sometimes it allows my main characters to be like, how did he become a PhD? And it'll soon be discovered online classes. So he ain't really no PhD. He's just an internet scholar. Then we have Pookie. Pookie is Laurent and Ilion's baby cousin, who is notoriously known as the Bel Air burglar. He pops up through all 5 seasons, robbing houses and big businesses, always getting into trouble, always getting caught, but he always seems to break out of jail. As a matter of fact, a situation with him and a few of other of Lorena Aeolion's cousins ends the first season. I can tell you what happens. Then we have James Wallace, an arch rival of Laurent, who is more than vicious and malicious. He's downright crazy. Um, James is actually bipolar, and he has a crush on Laurent, but it's so aggressive. It comes out in the midst of the third season, the crush, and he reveals that to Laurent, and it causes trouble for Laurent's current relationship. Um, as a matter of fact, James is responsible for Julian and Laurent breaking up. So you can already tell James is going to be a pain in the ass throughout the seasons. But my last character from my recurrent characters is Vicious Kid. Vicious Kid is a music producer, and he's a con artist as well. He signs people a talent on a daily basis, singing talent, and he swindles them and uses their talents. Then he just lets them go after he gets his funds off of them because he's an asshole. Um, Cleophas helps Aisha bust him in the first season, and he's put in prison for a couple of months. Then he's released a few months later after it's heard on television that his bail was paid and his sentence was lessened and da 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 and stuff like that. So he's out and about on parole, and loses his business. So Vicious Kid is another villain in my story. That's what I have as far as the characters. Um, the first season is going to be how many chapters? If I'm correct, I think it's going to be the number it usually takes to comprise the first season of the show is 27 chapters. So the first 27 chapters is mainly going to be about the characters moving to the home, getting used to each other, developing their relationships, um, developing like storylines, um, just getting to know the characters. Hopefully, when I get finished with the Misty Force ideas that I do have out, because I have one called Checkman, Force Kingman, and Shinobi Task Force Ninja. Those are the ones I'm thinking about. Actually, excuse me, Kingman was the one I was going to tell you guys about, but since I can't find it, I decided to tell you about Project Livin. I hope you guys enjoyed me talking about it. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. Until then, I'm going to say adieu and have a good night. Stop button. Okay, I love y'all. Take care.